From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, June 13th, 2022. Check in with temperatures here fairly uniform across the prairie, anywhere from 13 degrees in southern Alberta to 14 degrees in Winnipeg. You can find some single digits as you head a little further north into portions of central and far northwestern Alberta this morning. But we'll flip it over here and look at the infrared satellite picture, which has gone to a complete glitch there at the very beginning, but it figures it out here midway through. So why don't we just hang out here near the end of this loop, and I can show you we've got a potent storm system finally making its way in here to the prairie. We talked about it much of last week. This is the very strong jet stream flow, the upper level flow here coming into the prairie, which you can see right there. We've got a big area of expansive showers and storms across portions of the northern plains, the Midwest of the United States. But as we watch this system lift into the prairie over the next couple of days, we'll look at the radar here. We've got some showers starting to lift into southern and southwestern Alberta. This is going to be a heavy precipitation event here across portions of Alberta into western Saskatchewan over the next 48 hours. We've got rainfall warnings. Let me pause this. Again, the radar animation is glitching as well. Rainfall warnings here where you see the green shading there, the green outlines. We've got a favorable trajectory here. Again, as this area of low pressure kind of follows a path something like this. Lifts into the prairie, into central Saskatchewan. The flow coming around that out of the east. We get some terrain help then from the Rockies here. We get both upper level support. We've got the very strong jet stream winds coming in like this. I drew those on the satellite picture. That gives us upward motion in the jet stream. But then also when the lower level winds are coming around the area of low pressure like that, we get literally the winds coming up over the top of the mountains there. So we get additional rising motion, additional cloud cover and precipitation out of this. So this is a perfect storm for a significant precipitation event across southern Alberta into portions of western Saskatchewan. So we'll look at how this all unfolds with the NAM model. This will take us through Thursday afternoon. And as we head through the day today, rain, maybe a few thunderstorms lifting into the region out of the south as the storm system starts to make its way into the prairie. You can kind of see the classic comma shape there. And again, the surface level winds, the lower level wind fields coming in around the area of low pressure like this. We're going to get a big area of sustained precipitation across this region Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So this is what it should look like around 7 p.m. on Monday evening. We'll take this into the Monday overnight and now early Tuesday morning. This is now midday Tuesday, Tuesday evening. Now we're getting into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And then as we get into Wednesday, the storm starts to pull away off to the east and we'll see precipitation come to an end across portions of central and southern Alberta, and then eventually into western and southwestern Saskatchewan. We can take this just a little bit further here into the afternoon on Thursday. We see the storm quickly move off. So it lifts into the region today. It kind of spins out, stalls across the region Tuesday into Wednesday, and then Wednesday into Thursday, the storm pulls away. We will see some stronger winds on the backside here. These wind gusts, this is cumulative wind gusts through Wednesday evening. I'll tell you that much of the stronger winds here where you see the gusts pegging anywhere from 60 to maybe 75, perhaps as high as 80 kilometers per hour. Much of those coming out of the north and the west on the backside of the storm as it pulls away on Wednesday. Here's the NAM model. Total precipitation between now and Thursday morning. Highest here where, again, the flow comes up, butts up against the mountains. Right here across western Alberta, getting into the high plains is where you'll find the highest, most widespread precipitation. But still, as the area of low pressure lifts into the region and then eventually makes its way off to the east, we'll still see a corridor of heavier precipitation on the north side of the area of low pressure, that reaching maybe the Saskatoon area, eventually getting north of Highway 16 as you make your way off into central and northern Alberta. Then, in the warm sector of the storm system, kind of in advance of the area of low pressure, this is where I think we'll see more in the way of corridors of thunderstorms, potentially some severe thunderstorms. We end up with corridors of more significant precipitation, though. So it's a bit of a bimodal precipitation event. What I mean by that is you head further to the west, kind of in this corridor here, we're talking about a more widespread heavy precipitation event. And then as you head further to the east, kind of in this corridor, this is where I think that we're going to be looking at more in the way of a severe weather risk, and then additionally more in the way of corridors of heavy precipitation versus widespread heavy precipitation. We'll compare the NBM on the left, the European model on the right. We get a similar picture. The NBM, this is a combination of different weather models. So maybe a little bit more uniform and heavy with the precipitation, whereas in reality, probably a little bit more variable, like what we've got here with the European model, but you see kind of a similar look here, where again, this is where I think we're looking at the heavy widespread precipitation. This is where I think that we're looking at corridors of heavier precipitation with a heightened risk for strong to severe storms, those producing maybe some large hail, gusty winds, and then of course the potential for maybe a tornado or two. I think the severe weather risk across this corridor here is going to be highest as we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening, as the area of low pressure matures across the prairie and then eventually begins to push off to the east. And then as we just look at the next 10 days from the European model, we're looking at this active pattern with a lull in it, potentially resuming as we head into week 2 with additional chances for showers and thunderstorms across the prairie. So what's going on? Here's the upper level pattern that is driving all of this: a trough in the west, a ridge in the east. We've talked about how to get an active pattern into the Canadian prairie. It's a look just like this. We're going to be on the leading edge of that trough there as it lifts into the prairie. We get a widespread area of showers and storms with that jet stream support. We get the upper level winds speeding up and fanning out across the region, and that encourages upward motion in the atmospheric profile there above our heads. So let's animate this. Let's see where it heads over the next few days. Again, this upper level low, it takes its time. You can see the date up here. We're all the way into Wednesday now, and it's slowly just meandering now into southern Alberta as we get into Thursday morning. It does eventually quickly eject as we get into Thursday and Friday. That allows a ridge of high pressure to build back into the prairie. That's going to signal a warm-up and a dry few days as we get into, again, the end of the week here. This is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, likely looking at some ridging across the region, hot and dry conditions probably resuming across the prairie. What follows that, though, we'll go ahead and jump back here. Let me animate this once again, and we see the signal here. Oh, right, we're going to get the clicking down here on the, what is this, third or fourth time's the charm? All right, trough ejects Thursday, or exits Thursday, I should say. We get the ridging here Friday into Saturday, and then here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. The models suggesting we could see another storm system lift into the region as we get into early next week. Another trough here potentially developing across, western Canada as we get into mid next week as well. Now, this is the operational run, and we're getting out into day 10. This is where we've got lower confidence in some of the specifics and how that's all going to evolve. We'll look at the upper level winds, the jet stream winds that are driving all of this. We'll go ahead and just get this into maybe Tuesday, and you can really see as the storm lifts into the region. This is what I'm talking about. You want a trough digging in. You want to be on the leading edge there where the winds are speeding up and fanning out. That gives us upward vertical motion here, supportive of a storm system and, broad scale precipitation. And then additionally, you get that favorable trajectory with the storm to give us that enhanced terrain, lift, the orographic lifting there to enhance some of that precipitation across southern Alberta, where we really badly want to get some of that precipitation deposited here over the next 48 hours. Now, as we go quickly into Tuesday and Wednesday, you see the upper level low spinning away, just continuing to exit slowly late week. We get that ridging here as we get into the weekend, and then the question mark will be this system right here, this trough. How and when does it lift into the prairie? How much precipitation do we get with that one early next week? The probability of getting more than 1 inch on the left, probability of getting more than 2 inches on the right. This is through Thursday morning. Again, you see the highest corridor right here, southern Alberta into west central Saskatchewan, kind of right along this line. Same thing here, the probability of getting 2 inches or more, kind of right along this corridor here, southern Alberta getting into west central and central portions of Saskatchewan. And then again, fairly good chance of picking up an inch here, but this is where we're talking corridors of heavier rain versus the widespread, widespread uniform significant rainfall event. This is going to be corridors of showers and storms producing locally heavy rainfall as we get into especially Wednesday midweek. So here's the European model. This will take us through the next 10 days. Looking at the prairie here, again, here's your Monday. This is Monday afternoon and now Monday evening. Storm is starting to lift into the prairie, the area of low pressure here across the Alberta-Saskatchewan border as we head into the overnight. Getting into early Tuesday morning, here you can see the flow. This is exactly what I was talking about. You've got the Rockies right here. Circulation around that area of low pressure gives us that enhanced precipitation right across this region as we get into Monday night, getting into Tuesday. This is Tuesday evening, and now this is when we're talking about corridors of heavier thunderstorms, maybe some severe weather in the east. This is Tuesday night. This is now Wednesday morning. This is now Wednesday afternoon and evening, perhaps another round of stronger storms in the east. The storm is now departing. Precipitation comes to an end west to east as we head into Thursday and Thursday night. Getting into the weekend, ridging builds in. We'll likely see those temperatures rebound, becoming quite mild with dry conditions across the region this weekend. And then question marks as we head into early to mid next week. When does the next storm system lift into the region? How much precipitation do we see? Verbatim right now, the European model, another favorable track here across southern Alberta. I'm going to hold off on promising anything like that for now. We'll look at week 2, though. This is days 7 to 14. You got the European model on the left, the GFS model on the right, both of which at least keeping average to wetter than average conditions across the prairie, suggesting the active pattern continues. All that I can really promise you from that is that it doesn't look like we flip to an extended period of heat and drought immediately after this precipitation. It looks more likely than not we'll keep an active pattern going, but I can't tell you right now how much and where the precipitation at week 2 will be falling. Your temperatures then, a bit of a roller coaster as we talked about, seasonally appropriate. Cool shot of air accompanies the active conditions this week, warming up mid to late next week, warming up later this week. Let's go ahead and I'll show you through time here. Once again, your date, you can see that right up here. Cooler weather accompanies the storm here through Thursday. It's as we get into the weekend, see that ridging build in. We'll likely see temperatures surging back to warmer than average levels, perhaps quite warm across southern portions of the prairie as we get into maybe Saturday, Sunday, Monday of next week. If we do turn active again, which right now the models are suggesting we do next week, likely looking at another cooler trend in those temperatures as well, at least peeling it back a bit from the mild conditions we'll see over the weekend. Look at those 10-day high and low temperatures for some of our select cities here. Calgary, again, a bit cooler with the storm system over the area over the next 3 days, warming back up this weekend. You'll see a similar look here in Edmonton. Saskatoon, very similar as well. Those temperatures take a dip here this week, rising again over the weekend. Regina, and then finally Winnipeg. You'll see those temperatures cooling into the low 20s, so not all that bad. We're still talking about, seasonally appropriate probably temperatures across this region here as we get into mid to late week, with that chance for some strong storms across the region. A big warm up, though, as we head into the weekend and early next week.